What's your emergency?
My name is Liberty. We need your help. Humdinger, he's going to destroy Adventure City.
Come on, Pops. Adventure City's in trouble.
Space Jam time, baby.
So, I saw Space Jam 2 today, July 16th, 2021, the release date, and I don't know how to feel about it.
It's begun. I can't wait for this to be the greatest movie of all time, baby.
Now, of course, I went into this movie expecting the greatest movie of all time. But, you know, it has a legacy, a new legacy to bring up because of the original movie. Greatest movie of all time, 10 out of 10s across the board on every single website you could find. Everybody loves the first movie. It's just the greatest movie of all time. And I was expecting, not as good as Cruise 2, but I was expecting this one to try and be better than the first one. And it was, baby. This movie, 11 out of 10. 20 out of 10, alright? This is the greatest movie of all time. Better than Cruise 2, alright? And I actually thought that was a good movie. That's actually not a joke. But this, greatest movie of all time, baby. It's got Big Chungus. It's got Rick and Morty. It has references constantly to every single Warner Brothers thing to ever exist. So much to the point that half of the movie is literally dedicated to referencing things. Like the first half of the movie. This is a good thing, by the way, alright? Because, you know, reference funny. When Rick and Morty pop in and throw the Tasmanian guy, whatever he's called, into the freaking spaceship, and he's like, I'm crazy, and then they're like, I'm Rick, you should... I bursted out laughing, and same with all of the 9-year-olds in the audience. Everybody loved it. And also, did I mention Big Chungus yet? Because yes, that is not a joke, actually. Big Chungus is in the movie. That's actually legitimate, out of character. That's not a joke. And that brings the movie to a 50 out of 10, baby. Big Chungus, classic. Absolute classic. Greatest thing of all time. Greatest movie of all time. It has Big Chungus in it, alright? And I can't think of anything. Lola Bunny, she's in Amazon now. Like, Wonder Woman? Yeah, she's one of those now. It's like played like it's important to the play. It's not. It's not really at all. She just is. Alright. Also, Lola Bunny's in the movie. I'm just gonna keep the score the same for that because if I raise it because of that, and if I lower it because of that, weird things would happen either way. So I'm just gonna keep it the same. Also, if you couldn't tell, this isn't scripted at all. This is just me trying to put together this movie in my head. Alright? Like, I just don't know how... Don Cheadle's in the movie. 60 out of 10, baby. It's going up. It's going up higher. It just keeps getting better. Alright, we got, we got The Mask in the background many times, and because he is wearing a bright yellow costume, every time he was on screen, my eyes were just drawn to him, and I was like, reference. It was great. In the background, there were the guys from Clockwork Orange, which I haven't seen it, but I just think that's just an interesting thing to put in the movie, a kids movie, like actual 5-year-olds in the not really like 10 to children. Children were in the audience. Like, they're not going to notice it because it's all the way in the background. There's, flashy colors in the front. I just thought that was interesting. It's not going to raise or lower I just thought that was, like, they are really throwing everything that they can into this. I didn't even know that was Warner Brothers. But there are a lot of things that were Warner Brothers that I didn't know were Warner Brothers, apparently. Now, of course, no movie is perfect. All movies have to have something wrong with them. In any case, the movie's got to have something wrong with it, alright? This movie legitimately has real ADHD. This is the kind of stuff that I feel like will give a child ADHD and it's an entire 2 hours of this. There are parts of this where I'm just like, we moved on from this one thing a little too quickly, and I don't know, I already forgot about it because you're already throwing a bunch of other crap in my face. Michael Jordan is technically in the movie. This is the thing. Going back to the ADHD thing with this movie, just throwing stuff in your face. I can't recall most of the things in this movie because there's just so much within the 2 hours. Like, it's just all a blur. It's all fading from every second, and it's been a couple hours since I've seen it. So it's all fading right now. I should have filmed this right after, but even then, there aren't many things that I could know what to say. It just is a movie that is. I don't know how to feel about it. Going back to what I said at the beginning, I don't know how to feel about this movie, like, legitimately. Although it is the greatest movie of all time, I just don't know how to feel about it. There's a part where a character says son of a glitch. That made me chuckle. Not even. That made me snicker maybe a little bit. That maybe just made me go, huh. Wasn't expecting that. But by the way, did I tell you this is the greatest movie of all time because this is the greatest movie? I'm just going to give it another 20 points. Well, what was it at? 80 out of 10 now? Yeah, it's 80 out of 10 greatest movie of all time. Why did I add the extra 20 points? So in the first movie, the basketball game itself is only like a tiny fraction of the movie. It is a massive amount of the movie in this one, alright? Like an entire half of the movie, it feels like, is dedicated to this basketball game. And I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. This movie is just mind-boggling. Oh, another point. There are parts of the movie where the animation is like, eh? Like, there are a lot of parts where the, like, lip syncing isn't that good. And there's even some parts, at least one part that I noticed in the real life. I think it was at the beginning with the kid, Dom, where his dubbing was bad, where it was, like, dubbed or something. I think it was in the basketball scene at the very beginning where they're in the blue court. And he's, like, having the game system. He's like, game bad, Also, that's a whole thing. The way they talk about video games in this, and algorithms and all that, is very strange. And I'm just gonna leave that at that. I don't know what to say about this movie anymore. It is escaping my memory the more I try to think about it. Like, I could go and watch it again, because it's the greatest movie of all time, 100 out of 10, but it's just... it's also 2 hours long. Which is 2 hours and 10 minutes of pure joy, 110 out of 10 movie. But it's just... it's all gone. My memory of this movie is gone.
The acting in this movie wasn't very good. You didn't hear from me, though, at least in my opinion. The acting in this movie was very average to below average. Other than Don Cheadle, of course, because, it's Don freaking Cheadle, but, yeah. And, in the first movie, there's, this whole thing where it's, for a second, the character's like, oh, wow, Looney Tunes, you guys are cool, I love Looney Tunes. When I don't think that many people really love Looney Tunes that much. But in this movie, it's multiplied to 1,000, where this is an alternate world where Warner Brothers is basically Disney, except way more loved, which is kind of weird. Especially because Disney is a massive corporation. I don't know where this is going anymore. I'm just kind of talking now. But I gotta stay quiet while I talk about the negative things. Because then maybe people will realize I'm not in character right now and actually talking about some things that which I've still technically said stuff that I actually think about the movie. But that's just kinda how, I'm just kinda talking. This entire video is unscripted completely, so I have no idea where I'm going with any of this. I'm just kind of talking because I don't know what else to do when talking about this movie. It's really strange because this movie is honestly way forgettable. However, maybe I'll remember better on a second watch. But right now, I remember almost nothing. Sometimes things will get jogged in my memory about it, but not right now. So that's kind of telling of this movie. One thing I was gonna
talk about, actually, was the animation. I think that's what I was gonna talk about. Sometimes the animation is very subpar, not great, and the lip syncing and all that, but sometimes the animation is actually fantastic. Amazing. But then other times it's just, And I don't know where else to go with that. 200 out of 10 movie, by the way. Greatest movie of all time. It's an anomaly. This movie doesn't feel like it exists, or that it should exist, yet it does. The first movie has some, value in some ways, not necessarily positive in every way. In fact, in most ways, it is negative ways that people enjoy it. But it still is. I don't know. This second movie is just strange that it actually is a real thing that exists. And I don't know. I'm going back to I don't know how to feel about this 300 out of 10 best movie of all time. It's maybe I could just make another video if I ever watch it again and try and talk about it again. But I just don't know what to feel about Space Jam 2. And that's that. 500 out of 10 greatest movie I've ever watched.
When I feel I'm not good.
That's why